Hi, my name is Boris, and I am an outdoor enthusiast. I love all things two wheels, trails, road, messing around in a neighborhood, and even skiing. And today I'd like to present maybe a little information for consideration of the BICP. All right, I'm preparing for my BICP Level 1 coaching certification, and I came across the lesson on small circles. I saw what looked like pretty reasonable circle size compared to the bikes, but bikes are a little bit longer, a little bit slacker these days. So I wanted to demonstrate maybe some challenges for the 8-foot standard for small circles given modern bikes. Now I'm here on a Pivot Trail 429 size medium. It does have a -1 degree angle set inserted into it to get this bike to my liking, but this is not my longest bike. This is my little bike. My long bike, of course, is a Pivot Firebird. Now, if we go back to this bike right here, the wheelbase is about 4 feet or 4 feet 1 inch, again, where the tire contact center is on the ground. And if I look at my circle here, I've drawn it at exactly 8-foot diameter. Now, my best chance for making this turn is if I enter the circle tangentially, right? And I'm going to try to enter right where that line meets this crack. And so I want to walk the bike through this and demonstrate maybe the challenges of the 8-foot standard. All right, we're gonna enter our circle here, and I need to get both tires into the circle, but I'm gonna let my front try to follow this. Now, I'm not on my bike. I'm just gonna follow the circle with my front tire. At this point, the rear has entered. Now, I enter just inside of tangent because that's the natural path, right? If I draw a straight line from where the front tire is on this circle to the other entry point, my tire ends up slightly inside. Now, if I try to follow the circle, right, I'm walking here and keep it right on, I get to about, the halfway point. And at the halfway point, you'll notice that my rear tire is halfway across this circle, right? Because this is a 4-foot radius on an 8-foot circle. Now, in order for me to continue on this path, I basically have to stay on this tangent, but my handlebars are almost 90 degrees. Now, they're off of that probably by, say, about 20 degrees. They're 70 degrees. But this is an extreme turn, especially for a bike with a 64-degree head angle. Now, if I'm able to continue this, and again, this is very different because I'm just walking my bike, I can technically stay probably in that 70 to 80. Oh, no, look, I come to a point where imperfect circle. I'm almost 90 degrees. Now, at this point in the turn, my tire is, again, beyond the center. It's followed the path. But in order for me to stay back into my entry point, I have to be at almost 90 degrees. And now I am, again, approaching 90 degrees. So I'm getting my bars basically to a point to when you're actually pedaling, the bike doesn't want to move forward. It wants to slide out, or it wants to push against the fork, naturally induce that flex. That is maybe mathematically possible. And then I'd have to exit through that same point. I'm going to attempt the same, but I'm going to use my Pivot Firebird. Now, Pivot Firebird has a wheelbase that's about 4 foot 4 inches, and I'm not sure I can make this. So again, I'll try to enter the circle tangentially. I'm just walking it here with my hands, and I'm going to follow that path. I'm a quarter of the way through the turn, and my wheel is basically just entered. Now let's continue this path all the way around, and at halfway through, again, my bars are maybe 80 degrees. That is next to nearly impossible to pedal when the bars are that steep. And this is on fast rolling concrete. On grass, the friction would probably make pedaling at this angle impossible. But to stay inside, I'm basically locked in to this. Now, unfortunately, at 4 feet 4 inches, when I reach 75% of the way through the turn, my rear tire is actually behind the halfway line. This is a 4-foot marker right here in the middle, which means I have to turn beyond 90 degrees in order to bring my front tire inside the circle, right? So at 90 degrees, I am starting to tread outside of my line. And again, 90 degrees, I'm just spinning my bike, holding it here. I'm not inside my circle. My rear tire is still behind the center line. So this standard for the 8-foot circle might need to be amended for bikes where the wheelbase approaches 4 feet, right? Or where the head angle is in excess of a certain degree. I haven't actually plotted this into my engineering software, but reason stands that perhaps the 8-foot circle shouldn't be fixed. Rather, there should be a fixed diameter of a circle or radius depending on a combination of the head tube angle and the wheelbase of the bicycle. All right, let's enter this turn perfectly tangentially and see if it's possible to make this turn. Now my front wheel right here is starting to approach 90 degrees. And because of whatever imperfections of how I entered this, my front wheel is at 90 degrees and I am treading that circle. So mathematically possible, maybe on a 4-foot wheelbase. Real world technique, I would actually want to enter a circle and execute a nose pivot, a bit of a nose or tail pivot to get through such a turn on the trail. So what's the takeaway here? I think it's that the 8-foot circle is probably a great standard for a lot of bicycles, and perhaps at a certain period, right? When head tube angles were moderately steep still, where the wheel sizes were closer to 27.5 and maybe the wheelbases were slightly shorter. I think in today's modern geometry bike world, we should revisit the 8-foot standard in consideration of not just the bike technology itself has changed, but also different rider heights. I'm 5'9", riding a size medium bicycle, perhaps on the longer end of wheelbases as far as mainstream bikes are concerned. But large and extra large bicycle frames ridden by taller riders, especially from more progressive companies, right, like Geometron and Transition, are going to find themselves with wheelbases that make achieving the 8-foot standard for the BICP Level 1 certification impossible. I appreciate your consideration, and I really look forward to completing my training soon and learning a little bit more about how to coach others into the same love, joy, and safety of the sport that I've taken on for so many years. Thanks. Bye.